Reggie here, your friendly neighborhood bodybuilder and comic book collector. And I want to welcome you to another one of my live streams. It is Wednesday, I do believe, and it is definitely good to see all of you. I see folks that have been here chatting in the room for quite some time before the live stream began. And I want to say welcome to all of you. We have a couple of things that I want to get to. And I saw Matt Woods asking the question whether there was any breaking news. I don't know if it's breaking news, but there is some news that we are going to touch on that has come to my attention over the course of the day. I don't think it's anything like earth-shattering, but it is definitely some stuff that is maybe top of mind for me and may be of interest to you guys as well. So before we get going, I want to say hello to some comic book soldiers that have joined me here in the room. Let me scroll it to the top. I see my good friend and Blue Wrench Tina is in the house. Tina, how you doing? Matt Woods is here. Flash fan, one of our newest Patreon members, is in the house. He just picked up a nice run of some Flash books. Congrats to you, brother, for making that move to have a specific goal for your collection and then to immediately start implementing that plan to bring it to life. So shout out to you, brother. Rush Die Hard, my Canadian brother. How you doing, my friend? It is good to see you. Randy Resnake is in here. Scrolling down, Matthew, how you doing? It's good to see you. Chuck is in the house, my good friend. It's good to see you. Good to see you. Simon R, how you doing, brother? Simon R, Catwoman's 80th anniversary looks interesting to me. I am digging into some DC stuff as of late, specifically some Catwoman, and I started reading some Supergirl, the Supergirl stuff that was actually done by Michael Turner. I've been reading that as of late, so I am definitely digging some of those DC characters. Scrolling down through the names here, seeing who else we have here in the room. High Voltage Mark, how you doing, brother? It is good to see you, my friend. Scrolling, Anthony, welcome to the live stream. And I saw Tina's shout out. So if there's anyone that is new here, someone that has never been to a live stream before, definitely throw your name up there and let us know that this is your first time so we can acknowledge you. My man Jerry is in the house. How you doing, brother? It is good to see you. Scrolling down through the names. All right, so let's go ahead and get this thing started. I went ahead and saved my revised name for this live stream because there are several things that we are going to try to get into. Aging younger, brother. If I can keep that going, that is definitely going to be a good thing. You know what I'm saying? If I had hair on my head, if I could take this hair off my face and put it on the top of my head, we definitely be in business. Xavier, it is not so late. It is 7:30. It is the time in which my children go to bed. That is why we get on here always at 7:30 if we can in the evening, because that's when we can actually get a little bit of peace and quiet around here. Ian, how you doing, brother? It is good to see you, my friend. Welcome to the live stream. Tony Trebet up in here, Patreon member, owner of EGS. Shout out to you, brother. It is good to see you for certain. All right, so let's dig into this thing. There's a couple of things I want to bring to you all's attention. A lot of people have been asking about what is going on with certain movies that were supposed to be coming out. And then we assume that they have been pushed back. We assume that they've been delayed. And I've been talking about some of this stuff. In one of the previous live streams, I actually gave you guys a rundown of all of the MCU movies, how everything had been pushed back. There's a video on the channel that actually talks about those revised dates and whether the push out of the MCU has essentially created a blue ocean for us as collectors and even for speculators, to be honest. So there's a video on the channel that goes through the dates and all the movies and all that stuff for phase 4. But then there's other movies that are outside of that are comic book related that people are like, hey, what is going on with some of these? So when I saw this little tidbit, I wanted to make sure that I brought it to people's attention because this movie is one that may never, ever be seen because it has just, things have not gone right for this movie from the very beginning, right? And the movie that I'm talking about is The New Mutants. This is the movie that just will not go right. I mean, they had all kinds of stutter steps for this movie. They released trailers that were not well received. They were not good trailers. They went back and they did reshoots, and then they reshot the reshoots after putting them in front of test audiences and not having the movie do as well. They got it to a place where I think that they could release it, and then this happens. The pandemic happens, and so as a result of that, this movie has continued to just be pushed further and further out. But we now know that New Mutants has been rescheduled for August, and this was an article that actually dropped earlier this morning. Basically, Disney's New Mutants has been rescheduled for August 28th, 2020, which I think is going to be good news. They go on in this article to actually talk about how this movie was originally supposed to be released in April of 2018. Talking about, as somebody said, I may be reversing, I may be aging in reverse, but this movie is just getting older and older as it actually sits in the can. And so hopefully, come August, this movie will actually make its debut, and they are actually saying theatrical release. And when I read that to mean that it is going to be in theaters versus something that is actually going to be released direct to streaming services or whatever it may happen to be. So it'll be interesting. We will see what will happen with this New Mutants. I will tell you that some of the earlier trailers did not look promising. The more recent trailer I thought was actually pretty cool. I thought it was a pretty cool trailer. And so fingers crossed that everything actually happens. So Brian is like, yes. Tommy Mayo brings in some hip hop. He said that Dr. Dre will release Detox before we see this movie. If you guys don't know, Detox is a project that Dr. Dre has been rumored to be working on for like forever. It's been like 10 years, 15 years. This guy is like a huge perfectionist, and supposedly he has recorded tracks with Eminem, Snoop, multiple people. People have supposedly heard tracks, heard the CD or the tape or whatever you want to call the thing now. And it'll probably never be released, however. So fingers crossed, man. Fingers crossed. It says, I think that they mean home theaters. Nah, that's not what they mean. They use different phrasing. When you say theatrical release, that definitely has some direct connotations associated with theaters. So will we get, what was that question there? There was a question by You Boy Entertainment. Shout out to you, brother. He said, will we get Nova and Galactus before we get New Mutants? I hope not, considering the fact that they can't even film Nova and Galactus, and this is already in the can, sitting, waiting. Fingers crossed that we actually do get the New Mutants. It'd be nice to actually see it. It would be nice. Marcus says New Mutants better than Inhumans. Inhumans was not good. It was not good. The TV show was not good. I watched it because it was comic book related. It was not good, but the not so New Mutants. That is well said, brother. Well said. Who is this? Kyler says, I was excited in 2018, but now I'm just hoping the release being pushed back will improve it. Yeah, I think, with the various re-edits, reshoots, and I think they even got Kevin Feige involved at one point. I want to say I talked about that at one point in time. I think that they may have gotten this thing on course. I really hope that is the case, because the last thing that we want is for them to have delayed, then drop it and it actually be a bomb, so fingers crossed that we actually see some good stuff. So what is this? There was a comment there from Harvey Abel. I lost it. The comments sometimes can get away from me sometimes. What is this? Reggie, love seeing how you're such a good dad to the kid. Man, I love my children, brother. I waited a long time to actually have kids. And, it is a very rewarding experience to actually be a parent, because not everyone actually gets that privilege. And so, even those people that have kids don't always appreciate what they have, but I am I think of the age and of a maturity level that I actually appreciate them. And, even though they stress me out, and I'm very thankful for them, very thankful for my nuggets, love those guys, man. Scrolling down through some of the comments here, Gibbon Gang, Wesley, how you doing, brother? It is good to see you. All right. So, what is this? I was flipping through Disney Plus today and almost started watching Inhumans. It's not good. It's not good. You might as well wait for the Fury files, right? Supposedly, we are going to get in 2 more days. We're going to get the Fury files on the Disney Plus streaming service. This was an unexpected cartoon that Disney announced just a few days ago. I talked about it on the Ready, Set, Go preview show on Sunday, where they were like, hey, you guys didn't really know about this, but we're going to drop the Fury files. And supposedly, it may be good. I mean, it won't have Samuel L., but maybe it'll be good, So we shall see. We shall see. Being a parent is, where'd it go? Being a parent is my greatest joy in life. Such a rewarding endeavor, man. The goal, man, is to raise 2 happy, well-rounded children. You know what I'm saying? Like that is the goal. And of course, at the end of the day, you want them to be successful and all that kind of stuff. But I'll take happy. I'll take happy and healthy, but it is work, man. It is definitely work. There is no doubt about that one. Thank you, Kimball. I definitely appreciate that. Silver Age Dave in the house. Where is he? I did not see. There he is. How you doing, brother? It is good to see you, my friend. Love this guy. Love this guy. All right, let me scroll down through the comments here. Okay, so that's one update that I wanted to provide you guys with about the New Mutants now having a new release date of August 28th, 2020. Theatrical release is the specific words that they actually use, which leads me again to believe that this is actually going to be something that actually drops in the theaters. But time will tell whether my inclination is correct. But, I'm a big fan. I believe that words are important. So a lot of us have been sheltering in place for quite some time. And there's all of this debate, about, because new comics aren't around, what are people doing? And a lot of people are buying back issues. A lot of people are buying old comics and reading them and reading graphic novels. Thankfully, new comics will be making a return here relatively soon. So I think that's definitely a good thing. But one of the things that I found interesting that I saw today is that DC made an announcement here. There was some news that came out that basically says that the DC universe, which I believe is DC's digital platform, has actually seen a 35% increase in use, which I think is fantastic, right? Because, even though you couldn't get new comics, people are still reading comic book related material. And this is actually an article that dropped just yesterday. And what they're highlighting here, let me see if I can find the right section here. The service, which serves as DC's digital platform for comics, movies, and TV shows, reportedly crossed a milestone of 18 million comics read at some point during the period of time. And I think this period of time, let me see if I can find the actual dates in here. I actually skipped over a paragraph. Sorry about that. It says, according to new numbers recently released from the DC universe via the Hollywood Reporter, readership of their digital platform library, that being DC's, increased a whopping 35% between February and April. The service, which serves as DC's digital hub for comics, movies, and TV shows, reportedly crossed a milestone of 18 million comics read at some point during the period. And the period is February through April. So I think this is definitely a good thing. They even noted here what it was that people were specifically reading. It says the service also sheds light on what comic issues were the most popular for April, with the 2017 Batman's White Knight #1 and the 2018 The Batman Who Laughs #1 topping the charts for the month. And they go on to say that this provides an interesting indication of what readers are gravitating towards on the service, which features decades of comics from DC's history. So I thought that this was really cool. The fact that, people are signing up for this service. They're reading comics. They're engaging with the material to the point of it increasing 35%. I don't know what their trends were before. I don't know what their volume was before. But this just goes to show you that even though new comics haven't and been out there for a month or so, people are still engaging with the content, which I think is definitely a good thing. So scrolling down through some of the comments here, during the quarantine, I picked up some Dark Horse Star Wars series, and I'm really enjoying the story. Also grabbed some original Star Wars #3. That's what's up, man. You know, I too have been using my time, I think, constructively to read some things. I started reading Crisis on Infinite Earth last night. I read issues 1 through 3 of the Batman, I'm sorry, the Supergirl series that that Michael Turner worked on. I've been reading a little bit of Catwoman. Like, I've been reading all kinds of stuff just because it's like you have the time, so you might as well dig into some of these things that you've always been curious about or interested in, or whatever it happens to be, you know. So scrolling down through some of the comments here, seeing what else you guys are talking about. Yeah, so we talked about this on the last live stream, Kyler. He's bringing up the point here around The Boys season 2. I think the season 1 was incredible. It was an unexpected hit, in my opinion. You know, I was not that familiar with the comic, to be honest with you, but I think it was Vika. Vika actually told me about The Boys. I tuned in and ended up binge watching the entire season in basically one weekend. You know what I'm saying? So I fingers crossed that season 2 of The Boys is going to be as compelling, because the first was pretty dope. So Wesley says, been reading all the big crossover events from Marvel and DC in quarantine. That's what's up, man. There's a lot of that stuff out there, man. I'm actually in the background kind of working on some stuff, pulling together that looks a little bit at what you're talking about in terms of these crossover events. So I'm pulling books together, trying to get some material together, and at some point I may talk about some of this stuff. But yeah, there's a lot of crossovers, not just between Marvel and DC, but between DC and Image, between Marvel and Image. I mean, there are some crossover combinations that I have never seen before. But as I'm talking about this, it is hitting me that you are not talking about publisher crossovers. I think you're talking about major crossover events like Secret Wars and some of the other stuff. So my bad. Did anyone watch the Go Collect speculation video today? I made such a major mistake in this video. Things that happen publicly haunt me. And I kept saying throughout parts of this video, Morbius instead of Mobius. And it's one of those mistakes that will haunt me for like some time to come. Sometimes you just get in this mindset and you let it rip. And then in hindsight, you're like, messed up on that one. Scrolling down through some of the comments here. What is this? Man, you know what, brother? I do need to shave this beard. I do need to shave this beard. I'm being super lazy about this. I definitely need to take this thing off. Wesley's talking about, yeah, thank you, brother, for letting me off the hook. He said he finished Secret Wars last night. Secret Wars was good. Secret Wars 1 was good. Don't hurt my feelings. Don't hurt my feelings, Randy. Too soon. It's too soon. Scrolling down to the comments, seeing what else you're talking about. Let me see what else. I know. I film late at night. I'm sorry. And what's funny is I was actually going to try to pronounce his French name. I was going to try to pronounce his French name, and I was like, nah, because I'm gonna butcher that. I was just like, I'm gonna stick with Mobius, and then I still butchered it. You know, it's just like it is. There's some things you just, you know, somebody in the comments was saying some stuff, and then I was like, no way I made that mistake. And then I went and watched the clip, and I was like, oh man. So then I just had to turn the computer off because I couldn't watch anymore. But yeah, stuff happens. All right, so far we've spoken a little bit about the New Mutants and the fact that the movie has been pushed back basically to August 28th, 2020. We've spoken a little bit about the DC universe, the platform for DC Comics. They've seen a 35% jump in readership during the pandemic, which I think is a really good thing. And then another thing that I want to kind of get to here is sharing a little bit of news about what is actually happening with Diamond. Diamond is trying to mount a comeback. They are trying to mount a comeback, and they're trying to do some really cool stuff here, right? So they have this: Diamond aims to rally industry with comeback plans for May 20th. And so they basically come up with this seal or whatever that looks very much like the comic code. It says, "Our comeback will be bigger than our setback." And it is hashtag back the comeback. And so I think that this is something that they are basically trying to set in motion. The CEO of Diamond said, "I do believe our comeback will be bigger than our setbacks. Setbacks are always negative, but driving us now is the knowledge that our comeback will be awesome." And he actually released a video down here. I think this actually came out on the Twitter machine. Yeah, it came out on the Twitter machine. I have not watched it. But these shirts are pretty cool though. But it appears that what they are actually trying to do, he says he is hoping that the comeback, this little stamp, if you will be a unified front on the cover of as many comic books as possible in the next few months. The goal is for these branded comics to be seen as pandemic era collectibles, and he plans on publishing a checklist for collectors. The longtime comic distributor tells Newsarama that he has commitments from Boom Studios, Dark Horse, Dynamite Entertainment, with a tentative approval from Image. So basically, he is trying to rally the publishers to make use of this stamp on their comics on the cover, and essentially he is trying to brand this time period as like our comeback. I think it's not a bad idea. It really is not a bad idea. And of course, Newsarama asked him questions about Marvel and DC, and he admitted that he has not spoken to them, but he is trying to use the other publishers essentially as leverage or peer pressure for Marvel and DC to actually get on board with what it is that he is trying to do. So this is the stamp. I don't know if you guys can actually see that, but there is a large version of the stamp that is actually out there. So we will see. We will see what happens with Diamond and what they are attempting to do with this branding, if you will, of the pandemic era. It is definitely, I will tell you, it is definitely a period in time in which we will not forget for a very long time. We will not forget this period. And so I think it's actually a pretty interesting idea to place that yellow seal, if you will, on the cover of comics so as to mark those books part of this major event. It is not a bad marketing idea, to be honest with you. So very interesting stuff. Very interesting stuff. So I hope Diamond decides to ship their comics better. That would be better than a comeback. Yeah. So, the challenge, of course, and we've actually spoken about this, they, in my opinion, and maybe in the opinion of others, they put the focus on the wrong thing. Right. They spent a ton of money coming out with these crush resistant boxes, and that was not cheap. Coming up with a new box, a new design that was crush resistant and tested to be so is not a cheap endeavor. But as we've spoken about many times on this channel, crushing is not the issue. That is not the issue of what is actually happening with comics. The issue is that the handling, when the books are being placed in the boxes, there is no care that is actually given to the comics, right? That is like part one. Part two is because of how the books are placed in the boxes, when they are actually shipped and handled by delivery people, there is no care given there either. And so it is like two shots to the negative, right? And so I think that what Diamond should do is maybe pay their people more, train them a little bit more, do some different type of packing so as to protect the comics, put them in backing boards, spend a couple of bucks, put them in backing boards, and then put them in the boxes so that they don't slide around and get damaged. And all of that stuff costs money, right? And so the question becomes, if that's what the ask is of Diamond, are we prepared to pay a couple of more bucks for comics? And I think that's where the rub starts to come in, right? Because if you think about it, and we've spoken about this before, the margins that publishers actually make on comics is, in my opinion, very small. And so innovation where there is little money to be made is sometimes a really, really tough tough thing, right? It is a really, really tough thing, but one can hope. The pandemic comics is a real thing. Facts. That is facts. Scrolling down, I heard somebody was putting their comics in CLZ. So shout out to folks that are making use of the CLZ app. Definitely a dope app. Let me see what else you guys are talking about. Oh my goodness, Tommy Mayo, man, don't get me started on the publishers, specifically Marvel, with their desire to cram 80 pages and still use a non-square bound approach, right? I mean, I think binary tears are just awful and something that can be prevented with a little bit of precaution. You know what I'm saying? Change the binding, reduce the binary tears. We think it's simple. At least I think it's simple, but maybe it's not as simple as I think that it is. So scrolling down through some of the comments here, one of the things for sure is you make $0 off of damaged books. Oh, do you? You make $0 off of it and you actually tie up capital. Right, because I think that they give comic shops credit, right? They give credit for damaged comics, which ties up the capital that the comic shop would otherwise have at their disposal. The more than likely the comic shop also misses the sale because that dollar or that money that would have been spent on that comic that they don't have because the comic is damaged is money that they're not going to see again potentially, because the person that was looking for that book is going to go to the next comic shop or is going to order it online. So that is lost opportunity for the comic shop when books are being damaged. And then on top of that, that money is actually tied up because it's in a credit and it's not in cash. So it is definitely a detrimental thing. You know what I'm saying? Definitely a detrimental thing, damaged comics. So scrolling down through some of the comments here. Again, if you guys have things you want to chat about, throw it up in all caps because it'll actually help me see it. Please get that AOK mug in the store. What he's talking about is, wrong. Right there. My man, Chris Bigger and his wife hooked me up with some pretty cool stuff, man. If you didn't see the AOK video, I think it was yesterday. Yeah, I think it was yesterday. If you haven't seen that video, I definitely want to encourage you to check that one out. Shout out to my man, Chris Bigger, my brother from another mother. Scrolling down through the comments here. Chris, how you doing? He says, it's been forever since I caught a live stream. Welcome, brother. Yeah, man, his wife she definitely hooked it up. There is no doubt about that, man. It's definitely a cool gift. It's one of those things, man. It's just like, do I drink out of it? Do I put it on the shelf? Do I do both? Right? Because it is such a dope thing. He sent me a message. He was like, whatever you do, don't put it in the dishwasher. Whatever you do, don't jack it up by putting it in the dishwasher. So there you go. All right. So the one last thing that I really had on my agenda that I wanted to kind of share with you guys is this, and it is just a quick snapshot of the hottest selling comics this week from my friends over at Go Collect. And I believe the way that they come up with this list is that these are the hottest selling comics based upon volume, based upon number of transactions from the various sources that they pull data from. And I'm gonna be honest with you, I don't know all the sources that Go Collect pulls data from, but what I do know is that they're pulling together both CGC and CBCS sales, combining them into one. And so basically what we are seeing here is, again, the hottest selling comics this week based upon volume. And I believe that they're also ranked ordered. So at the top of the list, we have Amazing Spider-Man 361, which is not a surprise, right? This is the first appearance of Venom. I'm sorry, the first appearance of Carnage. And so it kind of makes sense because Carnage is the hot book. Spawn #1, little bit of a shocker there, little bit of a shocker with that one. But I guess maybe when there's so many copies out there, a lot of them will change hands, right? Amazing Spider-Man #300, the first appearance of Venom, of course. New Mutants, #98, first appearance of Deadpool. Star Wars 1, Star Wars 42. Both dope books. Amazing Spider-Man 252, one of my personal favorites. Venom, Lethal Protector in the 8th spot. And then a little bit of a surprise here, right? #9, Spider-Woman #1. That's a little bit of a shocker. And we're talking about the original black cover. You can see it right here, kind of peeking out from behind here. This is the original black cover, Spider-Woman #1. And then coming in at the 10th spot is the Uncanny X-Men #266. This, again, another really, really cool book right there. But I thought this list was pretty interesting, so I wanted to kind of share with you guys. One other tidbit that I will offer you is that I had an opportunity to talk with the folks over at Go Collect. It was the day that I made the announcement about CBCS's database. The day that I made that announcement, I reached out to Go Collect and I was like, hey, so are you guys going to be tapping into that CBCS database? And their response to me was, we have a meeting later today. We're going to talk about it. Then they got back to me a few days later and they were like, hey, we've reached out to CBCS to find out what's going on with that database. And at the time that I heard from them, they had not received the response back from CBCS, right? Because at the end of the day, in my head, what I think Go Collect should potentially do is to provide us with census data in terms of that little graph, not just for the CGC data, but also for the CBCS, right? And it would be super dope if you had the ability to toggle on and off, right? So that you could look at the volume between both and then be able to look at them independent of one another. Kind of sort of the same way that you have the ability to look up the different prices for books that may be CBCS or CGC. You could toggle those on and off. I think you should also be able to look at the sales data. Now, my general feeling is this, because of the video that I released a few days ago, where I talked about some of the errors, if you will, that are in the CBCS database. My general feeling is that it's probably going to be a little bit of time before anyone is given access to that data. My guess is that CBCS is going to take some time to kind of work out some of the kinks. Anytime you're dealing with a massive database, there are going to be things that are not correct. There are things that are probably incorrect with the CGC database as well, right? So this is not a criticism. This is a statement of fact associated with creating databases of this sort. So my guess is that they're going to spend some time cleaning up that data, cleaning up the database before giving access to partners. And so it could be a little bit of time, but I wanted to at least let you guys know that I had spoken to Go Collect about it. They have reached out to CBCS, and who knows what the future will look like if they're going to be able to make some magic. So I at least wanted to share that with you guys. Superhero reviews. Welcome to the live stream, my friend. Scrolling through, Jess Pele, how you doing? Man, no, man, this is just me being lazy. This is just me being lazy. It won't last too much longer. Trust me, won't last. I go through these periods, right? Like I went through a couple of decades probably where I had like a little beard back in the 90s, little beard goatee thing. Then it was just goatee for like, I don't know, 10 years plus. And then I went no facial hair at all. And then occasionally I get lazy and then just don't shave. And then after it starts to itch and I get ingrown hairs, then I take it all off and it just, the cycle repeats itself over time, So scrolling down through some of the comics, Two Brothers Comics, how you doing? Dre Boogie in the house, how you doing, brother? It's good to see you. Jess Pele is saying most shops way overpriced the keys that they sell. I am doing well, my friend. Thank you for asking. I definitely appreciate that. Seeing what else you guys are talking about. Again, if there's things you guys want to talk about, throw it up in all caps so that I can actually see it. It makes it a little bit easier for me to check out that stuff. But for those that are just joining, we spent a little bit of time over the course of this live stream talking about the New Mutants movie, and it's being pushed back, the DC Universe spike in readership, the hot comics that have been released by Go Collect, and I think there was one other thing. I can't remember what it was. Maybe you guys remember. But scrolling up through the comments, seeing else what you guys are talking about in here. King of the Golden State, how you doing, brother? It is definitely good to see you. Hope things are well with you. I have not heard from you in a while, but I am hoping that you are doing well, my friend. Chris says, I've been using CLZ for 2 years, and you taught me some new features I've never used. That's what's up, man. You know what's crazy, man, is that I actually sat here at the desk, right? I sat here at the desk one evening, and in my head was like, all right, I want to do this, this. Before I knew it, I basically had completed the video, if you will, in terms of like the features that I wanted to actually show on screen. It took me a lot of time to record the talk track, right? Of course, the talking through those functions, and then of course the editing. But as far as like the thought process behind what I wanted the video to do and then to do the screen grabs, it was actually relatively quick. But I think that people have been pretty pleased by and large with that video. It was a fun video to make. I think the COZ app is a dope app. I've continued to use it. I've been using it a lot like this last week or so, just plugging lots of stuff in, man. And it works pretty darn well. And as I've continued to use the CLZ app, I've noticed some additional features and functionality myself, some additional shortcuts and nuances. And I continue to be impressed by it, to be honest with you. And so, you know, I did that video. I received no compensation for that video. I just thought it was a cool app that people have been telling me about for a very long time. And I finally was like, you know what, I'm just going to go ahead and dig into this thing. And I'm glad that I did, because it's definitely a really cool app. So shout out to you, Chris. Glad that you found the video to definitely be helpful. So scrolling down, Chris is saying it is definitely a good one. That's what's up. Oh, I forgot to tell you guys. I think you guys probably heard about this one, right? Dave, what is his name? Greg Horn has now signed up to actually do some in-house signing for CGC. Marvel cover artist Greg Horn joined CGC for a private in-house signing. So this one, let me see if I can find the date. Here's a quote from him. He says, "Hey everyone, Greg Horn here. I'm super bummed about these convention cancellations, as I know a lot of you were looking forward to getting your comic book signed. Most of all, I'm missing the interaction with fans and art lovers from around the country. However, I think the private signing at CGC's office will be a great solution. I'll be autographing all submissions live and was told I'll be able to chit chat with people online and make personal calls. It will be just like a convention without the con crud. I think I'll spice it up by remarking a few random books, and I'll also throw in a few of my vaulted full signatures to boot. So send something that catches my eye and makes me extremely happy. Hint, hint." So this was just released recently. It looks like CGC's in-house private signing fees for Greg Horn is $70. And this actually includes his signature expedited turnaround time of 3 weeks for CGC grading, expedited turnaround time of 6 weeks for grading, pressing. There's a little bit of extra money there. And then, of course, the yellow label. So the deadline for this is June 26th. So just FYI on that, if you're interested in getting Greg Horn to sign some things, that is now available to you on the CGC website. So there you go. Scrolling down through some of the comments here, seeing what else you guys are talking about. All right. Scrolling. All right, cool. So hopefully this live stream has been one that you guys have enjoyed. We went through a lot of updates and things like that. So hopefully this was helpful for folks to be able to know kind of sort of what was happening out there. Comment here from Mixtape Master. How you doing, brother? He says, Greg Horn was the artist behind my SLCC variant of Death of Wolverine. It was a really cool, obscure cover. I don't know that I've ever seen that cover, to be honest with you, but Greg Horn's a talented dude. There's no doubt about that. Dude, Ryan, how you doing, my friend? It's good to see you. Joe Brown, how you doing, bro? It's good to see you. He says, bought my first Golden Age book. It was Red Rider. That's cool. Congrats. Was that today? Was that just recently? Do you even have the book yet? Very cool, though. I have not jumped into those waters just yet. I have not gotten into the Golden Age waters just yet. So scrolling, Bayou Boy says Greg Horn did some dope She-Hulk covers. I was just looking at one of his covers here. I think he did one for Harley Quinn. It's actually a pretty crazy, it's Deceased One is a Harley Quinn cover. Super creepy stuff, man. No doubt about that one. Scrolling down through the comments here. There you go, right there. Boy, how you doing, brother? It is good to see you. Oh, here we go. We have somebody over on the Twitch machine. Thank you, brother. I definitely appreciate your support over there. We ballooned up over on Twitch, man. We actually went from, I want to say, like 16 or so subscribers on Twitch to, I think we're at 30 right now in about 3 days. So I think that's definitely a good sign, man. I'm trying to get the Twitch thing going just a little bit. So again, if you guys are over there on Twitch, definitely throw me a follow. The name is the same, Regie Collects. So I don't know, is this directed to me? What is your greatest feat in comic collecting? I'm not even sure how to answer that one, man. I'm not even sure how to answer that one. I don't know. I don't know. I don't know. I have a lot of ways that I can actually answer that question, to be honest with you. I mean, I've had some major scores of some fantastic books in the wild, really, really cool books that I've been able to find in the wild on the humble through a lot of hunting and perseverance, a couple of ASM, 300s, Iron Man 55. I mean, these are all books that I was able to find in the wild just on the humble. But what I will tell you, sports bros, is that there is going to be a video that is going to be dropping next week that will provide you with probably the truest answer to that question. The truest answer to that question will be revealed to you next week. And when you see the video, you will know exactly what video I'm talking about. You will know exactly what. Rush Die Hard, Golden Age is fabulous. Yes, it is, man. There's a lot of really cool stuff out there in Golden Age, man. And I tell people, I will get in those Golden Age waters at some point. There are just so many Silver Age books that I am captivated by, that I'm really focused on trying to give. But at some point, I will jump into those waters, man. So my eye is twitching. How you doing, brother? It is good to see you. Scrolling down to the comments here. What is this? I just signed with Twitch tonight. That's what's up, man. I definitely appreciate that. Well, let me scroll up real quick. It's ASM, Reggie. Yeah, man. So it's good to see all the folks over there on Twitch, man. So someone was putting me up on game the other day. They basically said that if you have Amazon Prime, there is a way that you can actually subscribe. You can have I think it's called Twitch Prime, because Amazon owns Twitch, that if you have Amazon Prime, you can get Twitch Prime. And when you have Twitch Prime, you can actually subscribe to the channel. And I think through that subscription, somehow or another, it has a more positive impact on the channel. I'm still trying to dig into the details, to be honest with you, because the whole Twitch platform is a new platform. It is really set up for like gamers, not necessarily the type of content that I put out. But my goal is to expand the reach a little bit, just beyond the normal YouTube stuff. I want to try to go to some of these other platforms, because there is a lot of overlap, in my opinion, between like video games and comics. And there is overlap, that maybe I don't fully appreciate. And so I want to kind of explore these opportunities, because maybe we can bring more people into the hobby by me doing some of this content on Facebook and on Twitch, and of course on YouTube. So fingers crossed that we can continue to get it going. But shout out to all those folks that are over there on Twitch. I definitely appreciate that. Just hit the Twitch follow. Thank you, Wesley. I definitely appreciate that, bro. It means a lot to me, my friend. What is this? YouTube channel with incredible content is an amazing achievement. You're in your bro. That is facts. That is facts. The thing, somebody asked me this the other day. They were basically like, did you ever think that you would have this many subscribers on YouTube? And the honest answer is no. The honest answer is no. As I started this channel because I wanted to have some fun with comics. I wanted to interact with other comic book collectors and people that were having fun in the hobby. You know, I used to watch people like Silver Age Dave, and it looked like he was always having so much fun just talking about comics and showing his collection and stuff like that. And I was like, I want to be a part of that. I want to get involved in that. I used to watch Jim Min. I used to watch Sell My Comics. I used to watch Reaper Tate, Luther Manny, ETA Nick. I used to watch all these guys, and I'm like, man, they're having so much fun. I want to have some fun too, you know? So I did a couple of videos, mispronounce some things like Galactus's name, and not a whole lot has changed, right? There's a few more people that follow me. I still occasionally mispronounce something like Morbius and Mobius. I mean, you know, but I am still having a lot of fun, which is really cool for me. But Matthew, you were spot on, man. You know, the thing is that it is an amazing achievement what I've been able to do. But I am still just having fun and still just talking to my friends or trying to make friends and talk to my friends. I mean, nothing has changed in that respect. So scrolling down through some of the comments here, seeing what else you guys are talking about. Always have fun at Reggie's Fun. Chris, there it is, brother. There it is right there. Tell the wife I've got it on the shelf. I have not taken one sip out of it. It has literally been sitting right here in behind the camera, sitting here waiting for the video to drop so I could actually put it on the shelf. So it is back there sitting, chilling. You know what I'm saying? JR, how you doing, brother? He says, channel is amazing. Your vibe and personality is what brings people over. Thank you, brother. I definitely appreciate that, man. At the end of the day, man, you know, people have stressful lives, man. We all have stressful lives and bills and responsibility and all that kind of stuff. But people just want to occasionally just have some fun. You know, we want to zone out. We want to have a good time. We want to chit chat with our friends about comics, about a hobby that we enjoy, because in the real world, so many of us don't have associates that actually are interested in comics. So by extension, we are essentially creating a community amongst ourselves so as to foster something that we are passionate about. You know what I'm saying? And, you know, my thing is life is hard enough that I don't need to be on here grumpy and things are bad. That's just not me. That's not how I want to be. You know what I'm saying? That's not how I want to be. That's not who I want to be. I want to have some fun. I want to enjoy these funny pages, and I want to be able to laugh at myself when I make mistakes, and I want to be able to share my collection with you guys and have you share your collections with me and me be joyous for you and vice versa, because we are passionate about the same thing. Even though it's not the identical thing, it's the same thing. You know, it's all funny pages. So shout out to you, JR112, my man. Why would you watch other why would people watch me stand here and talk about comics? I don't know. Man, I'm telling you, these people that play these video games that just play games, I think they actually make some good money. I think they actually make some good money. If only I play video games. I haven't played video games in a very, very long time. I'm actually looking forward to when my boy gets a little bit older and starts playing games, because then I can actually have an excuse to play video games. Yeah, I think these people that stream these games, man, I think they actually make some nice cash. I really do. I really do. Or it could just all be fictitious and I not know what I'm talking about, which is possible. It is definitely possible. Who? Bueller? Who is that? No. So me, Bueller, and ETA Nick are regular channels. Thank you, James. I mean, I feel honored, man, to be in that roster, because I think that both of those guys, they are very different from me. They are very different from one another. They each have a unique perspective, and they offer some content that you can't necessarily find on another channel. You know what I'm saying? And I think that that's the secret, is that we all have to be different. We all have to offer some variety to the comic book community. And I think that both ETA Nick and Bueller do that. You know, I think that they do that. And ETA Nick has been in the game for a very long time. He has been in the industry for a while, you know. Mixtape Master tagged you on my post at the very end. Oh yeah, I'll look for it, bro. I will look for it as soon as I wrap up the live stream here. Crypt Keeper, thank you, brother. Thank you for saying that was a nice video, and I apologize. I apologize for my Mobius mistake in that video. It's one of those ones that is just going to stick with me for a while. But I do. If you guys haven't watched these videos on Gold Collect, I do a weekly show for Gold Collect where I actually talk about speculation, and it is a combination of some of my own thoughts along with the blog posts that are written and submitted to Go Collect by bloggers. And so I basically review their blog posts, but then add a little bit of my own commentary on top of it. And it's fun. It's fun to do those because I'll tell you, I am not the most knowledgeable when it comes to DC because DC is just not my thing. But every single week that we do that show, we actually talk about a little bit of Marvel, a little bit of DC. And by doing that, by reading those articles, by osmosis, if you will, I am learning more and more about DC, having a greater appreciation for DC's characters and how they tell stories and all that kind of stuff. And I think that is one of the, in addition to having fun, that is another benefit that I realize. And so I definitely appreciate you guys watching the content and enjoying it. So scrolling down through some of the comments here, seeing what else you guys are talking about. Jeff says, hello, Reggie and chat, checking in from Chicago, feeling the comic book community love. Welcome, Jeff, my man. I love your city. Good city, man. Upper and lower Whacker. I went to a Planet, I think it was a Planet Fitness, and it took me forever to figure out the difference between upper Whacker and lower Whacker. Scrolling down through some of the comments here, my wife said it's because I'm a nerd, and yeah, my wife says nerd talk. Top Twitch streamers are millionaires, man. I'm telling you, they make some money over there. It is really, really fascinating what they do. And that's, part of it is my goal is to continue, putting out good quality content that actually helps you guys. But the other part is that I need to continue, allowing my hobby to be funded by the activities that I do. So like the super chats that come in, the contributions that people make to the channel, Patreon members, all of that stuff goes to helping me upgrade videos and equipment. It goes to, me buying books that gets turned into content, right? It is all helpful stuff that comes in that allows me to continue putting out the content that I put out, right? And so, it all kind of feeds on itself, right? And so if these guys are making, that kind of crazy money, I applaud them for it. And my assumption is that they are providing a service to their viewers, because there are a lot of people that watch videos here on YouTube more than they watch TV, and it's like we put out, I think, good quality content that is well thought out, that is entertaining, that is informative, et cetera, et cetera. And so, I wish I could be like, was it Comics Explained? Maybe one day we will be like that. Scrolling down through the comments here, Reggie, I dare you to start a Silver Age Thor run. I'm not the biggest Thor fan, bro. With the these and the thousts. I'm not the biggest Thor fan, not the biggest. I've read some of the more recent Thor, and I honestly do enjoy that. War of Realms, I read bits and pieces of that. I enjoy some of the more recent stuff, the Jason Aaron Thor stuff. The older stuff, I'm not a big enough Thor fan for me to make that investment. And I'm not talking about dollars. I'm talking about time, energy, and effort. You know what I'm saying? And that's not a criticism of Thor, because I think if you dig Thor, I think that's dope. It's just not my character. Not my character. There's so much other stuff that I need to go after. Started watching, and my wife said, I hear my buddy's voice. She's if you guys, I think I did the live stream on Sunday night, and I was basically like to all the wives, girlfriends, significant others, whatever it happens to be that may be listening to my voice, either on purpose or accidentally because their significant other is playing this in the background. Happy Mother's Day, because it is true. I think that a lot of people's significant others, are starting to embrace the notion of me in their houses, which I think is definitely cool. What I teach a student who has 5,000 plus subscribers, all he does is play games. That is crazy. That is crazy. I should start playing video games. That is the secret. That is the secret right there. Let me scroll down through some of the comments here. I see DC collectors here left and right, but the YouTube community heavily favors Marvel side. Would a more DC heavy channel interest you guys? You know, so I think that there's reasons for that, right? I think that there's a couple of reasons for that. I think part of it has to do with money. Right? If you think about the values from a speculation standpoint, and you think about the movies and you think about the streaming services, those things are weighted heavily towards Marvel, which influence the values of the books, which fuels the speculation, which fuels the channels that talk about speculation. And so I think that that is part of it, right? I think that there are those people that talk about DC just because they love DC and it has nothing to do with that. But I think that that's part of why you see that weighting towards Marvel. The other part is that I think there's just a lot of people that really love Marvel stuff, right? Because Marvel has been doing this for a long time. They have some of the more iconic characters, not to take anything away from DC. But you know, in my head, if you had the logos for DC characters and Marvel characters, and you put them in front of your average person, my guess is that people will be able to pick out more Marvel characters than they can DC characters. And of course, there's things like Superman and Batman, that maybe Green Lantern that will rise to the surface, but you're probably going to get more brand recognition from the Marvel stuff than you will get from the DC stuff. And of course, that recognition also contributes to the type of content that people put out, right? Because to create these videos, to record these videos and stuff like that, you need views. And if you're talking about things that don't interest people, then you're not going to get very many views. Therefore, you're probably not going to create content. So there's a reason for some of that stuff. But you know, I think that there are people out there that do focus on DC a little bit more because that's their preference. And I salute those individuals for certain. High Voltage Mark, shout out to you, brother. He says, thanks for almost an hour long chat. And thank you for welcoming the chat community. Thank you, bro. I definitely appreciate that. Has it been an hour? It has been 55 minutes and 45 seconds. Wow. We have been on a rip here. In my house, I'm the Marvel fan and my son is the DC fan. I learned all of my DC. That's what's up. That's what's up, man. That's what's up. I am brainwashing my children to be all Marvel. I'm gonna just be completely honest. It is all Marvel in this house. No. My boy does have Batman pajamas and stuff like that. So, what is this? Couple of comments here. Yeah, I can't offer those mugs. I didn't make those mugs. I can't offer anything like that. I know a couple of people were saying to offer them up, but I actually did not. I did not make those. So scrolling down, DC has dropped the ball. Yeah, man. I mean, I think that DC definitely has some great characters, but I think that they have to find the secret sauce to be able to put out better movies. If they're able to put out better movies, then that will help to drive some of the values associated with their books, right? But if people are in this and they get excited about, I bought this book for $1, now it's worth 10, you see more of that in my mind. And maybe it's because I'm biased. You see more of that with Marvel stuff than you do with DC stuff. The values that you see with high-end books and really expensive books, it seems to be weighted a little bit more towards Marvel than DC. And again, it's not a criticism at all. Someone's birthday. Whose birthday is it? Scrolling through, JLS. How you doing, brother? It is good to see you. I'm 30 minutes away from being 1 year older. Steve, that's what's up, brother. Happy birthday, my man. Happy birthday to you, brother. Regie wears tank top. She will say for sure, let me see. Scrolling down to the comments here. Secret sauce. You need some secret sauce, man. All right. Everybody ready for some, we're going to do a happy birthday song for Steve. We're going to sing. No, I'm not. We're not going to sing that. But yeah, I mean, I think that, it's an interesting thing, right? it's an interesting thing to think that one person, i.e. Kevin Feige, could have such an influence on what Marvel has done with their movies. And I think that, to your point, man, that I think that DC needs to have somebody that can grab the reins and create a vision for what gets done, because it is very apparent. It's very apparent that Marvel has a vision. The things that they do, they have a cumulative effect. They build up to something greater than themselves. They are great individually, but they contribute to a greater whole. And the DC movies, I don't know if they do that. I don't know if they do that. And so until they can find a person or people that can tap into that secret sauce, I think that they're going to be in trouble. And it's a shame. It really is a shame, because DC has some fantastic properties out there. You know, I remember going to the drive-in to see the Batman back in the day. You know, when Arnold Schwarzenegger was in the movies, and Danny DeVito. I remember Michael Keaton as Batman, and it's like, I used to love, and I still do like Batman, but it's a shame that we don't get the ability to see these iconic characters on the big screen in a way that we get to for Marvel. And so, fingers crossed that they can get themselves together. DC makes the best animated movies. I can say stay in that lane. Hey, everyone's got something, brother. Everyone's got something. Who is this? Pedro, how you doing, brother? Welcome to the live stream, my friend. Scrolling down through some of the comments here. What is this? Isaac, hey, Reggie, is there any comic book grail that you're looking for? You know, at the moment, man, I'm not looking for any. Well, let me restate that. I'm always looking for something. I'm gonna be completely honest. The only book that I really have my eye on right now, of course, is Amazing Fantasy 15. But I am not prepared to buy that book right now. That to me is like the ultimate book that I want in my collection. There are a lot of other books out there that I would like to add to the collection, but that is the ultimate one. And yeah. So all right, so I think I am going to wrap this thing up. They need a unifying person at DC. Yeah, and it's not Stan Lee. I'm not Stan Lee. It is not Jim Lee. You know, I think Jim is doing his thing with the comics. I think you need somebody that knows movies, that knows how to create that connective tissue between movies that may seem like they don't have anything to do with one another, but there is that thread, there is that connective tissue that runs through them all, that when you look back, you're like, oh, that's how that was tied together. You know, you need someone with a vision. You need someone with a vision. So, oh, wow. HME3. Wow. Brother, I have not seen you in a long time. Welcome, man. Welcome to the live stream, my friend. It is definitely good to see you, man. It's cool. I love when people show up out of the blue. You know what I'm saying? So it's good to see you, my friend. There you go. Kevin Smith needs to come into DC, says my man Chris Bigger. But again, I am going to wrap this thing up. We just reached an hour. I want to thank you guys for hanging out with me for this time. We spent some time. If you just came in a little late, we talked about several things over the course of this live stream. And if you missed it, I definitely would encourage you to go back. If you enjoyed this live stream, I definitely want to encourage you to hit the like button. If you are here and you haven't yet subscribed to the channel, I definitely want to encourage you to do that. And as a reminder, this is the book that we are giving away this week as part of the sponsorship by Go Collect. This is Tales of the Teen Titans number 44. This is a 9.8 white pages. This is where Dick Grayson becomes Nightwing. It is the first appearance of Jericho and also the origin of Deathstroke. This book just arrived here at the house maybe a week and a half ago, and I just opened it up. But this is the book that we are going to be giving away. All you have to do is to stay tuned to the videos that come out from the channel. And in one of those videos, I'm going to give you a phrase. You plug that phrase into the link that is on the community tab, and then you tune into the Ready, Set, Go preview show. That is basically it. It's relatively straightforward to be able to get into the running to win that pretty awesome book. And as of Sunday, I was told by Lee Atkins that we have given away $11,000 worth of comics here on the channel. Over the last 65 weeks, we have given away $11,000 worth of comics. And so huge shout out to the folks over at Go Collect for, again, putting me in a position to be able to give away some really awesome books. And thank you to you guys for watching these videos, for commenting on these videos, giving the videos thumbs up, because that allows me to have negotiations with sponsors like Go Collect to be able to get the book. So it is definitely one of those things that kind of feeds upon itself. All right. If you guys need to reach out to me, you can do that in one of two ways. You can do it on Instagram, which is my preferred, at Regie Collects. And if you are not on Instagram, you can send me an email to reggie@regiecollects.com. And if you are feeling frisky, you may want to even check out the website, regiecollects.com. Thank you very much and have a good night.